Okay.
Melody, you've got the screen control.
Share my screen here.
So first, you can kind of mute themselves.
Yeah.
That'd be appreciated.
All right.
Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Juan Cornell. I'm the owner and operator of Free Agent PDX, and I am also the JEDI chair here at Construction Specifications Institute. And I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for this town hall. The town hall is something that we're hoping to do quarterly, and we'll talk more about that as we get going. So first and foremost, we want to thank our sponsors for this event. We have Imagine It, and a big shout out to Tony, is it DeVincenzo? I'm hacking that last name. DeVincenzo? Is that correct, Tony? Are you here?
I don't see that Tim or Tony is joining us. It's DiVencino.
Thank you very much, Tony DiVencino. I'm still hacking it up. Thank you very much. And then also we want to thank Dave Wright. A big shout out to him with Hunter Davison for sponsoring this event as well. So if we don't have Tony here, he was supposed to have his thing, so we're just gonna keep it moving, it looks like. That's the game plan. Okay, so we will circle back around. So as I said earlier, my name is Juan Cornell, and I am the chair of this committee. Next, I want to introduce Melody Stinson, and she is our secretary. You want to introduce yourself, Melody?
Hi, I'm Melody Stinson. I work on master spec software at Dell Tech in divisions 3, 4, and 7. And I moved to Portland from Oklahoma City in 2019. And I'm super happy to be part of this committee and happy you guys are all here tonight. Thanks.
And next up is Courtney. She is our town hall director.
Hey everybody, I'm Courtney. Besides being on the JEDI committee, I am the Portland chapter president-elect and currently programs chair for our monthly chapter meetings. So if you're probably seen me around, I work for LSW. I'm a project architect over there.
Up next is Robbie Peters, who is our ethics counsel.
Hey everybody, I am Robbie Peters and I work for Faithful and Gold. I am a cost manager. Just like Melody, I moved from Oklahoma City to Portland. Been here, this is my 3rd winter, so it's nice to meet everybody. Hello.
Next up is Ellen Onstad, and she is well connected, knows people all over the United States. Ellen, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Juan. My name is Ellen Onstad. I work for Interface Engineering, and I'm currently the Northwest Region Institute board director. So I've been involved in CSI for over 25 years, and it's a great group of networking individuals. So looking forward to tonight. Thank you.
And we saved Alexander for last. He is also our president here at CSI, and Ellen and Alexander are advocates on this committee. So Alexander?
Yes, good evening. Yes, I'm Alexander Lungershausen, originally from South America via Germany. I'm currently, like Juan said, I'm the president of Portland CSI. I've only been a member of CSI for 13 years, which like seems compared to Ellen like almost nothing. But it's an amazing group of individuals and we have a lot of fun and we exchange a lot of information. I am the head spec writer and a project architect at Hanbury JEDI.
So up next is our community agreement, and I would like to read that off here. We seek a community that is respectful, comfortable, open, curious, inclusive, and kind. Community agreements help us identify concrete ways to create a cohesive and safe place to exchange ideas, enable us to interact more cooperatively, and keep us on track. So our community agreements are Let me go over here so I can read it. It's looking a little small on the screen for me. Are to honor our group wisdom through curiosity and respect, encourage questions instead of assumptions, do our best, assume good intent until proven otherwise, acknowledge the difference between intent and impact, take space, make space, use inclusive language, be present, ask for what you need and offer what you can, uphold commitments, and then lean or learn into discomfort. So first up, I want to bring up Mary Ann Naylor. She is the Communications and Marketing Director with Oregon Tradeswomen.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you to everybody here tonight for having this event. I'm new to you all, but I really enjoy meeting you and learning about your work, and just really appreciate that Juan and Melody took the time to pull all of us together this way. Like Juan said, I'm the Communications and Marketing Director for Oregon Tradeswomen. We are a Portland, Oregon-based independent nonprofit organization that provides training and resources to help women get into and succeed in the skilled construction trades, whether that's open shop or union path. And I'll just share with you a little bit. We are celebrating our 32 years as a nonprofit organization this year. We were founded in 1989 by 4 tradeswomen in the area who were sort of on their own in the field and wanted to help more women find out about these great careers. You know, over the years, the nonprofit developed to offer a pre-apprenticeship program. I believe we were the first pre-apprenticeship program in the state to be certified. And we've had about 1,500 women graduate from the program over that amount of time. We also do advocacy work to help change construction culture, to help it be a safer workplace for all workers, free of harassment, discrimination, hazing, bullying, and some of those types of behaviors that keep people out of the industry. We also do leadership development for tradeswomen to help them advance in their careers, stay in their careers. And then as a good nonprofit, we do lots of events throughout the year as well. This week we're hosting a diversity summit. It's virtual and it's online. We convene regional stakeholders in the area who are doing DEI work, diversity, equity, and inclusion work. It's sort of a checkpoint for the folks in our region to see how we're doing and to keep that kind of work moving forward. It's our hope that this work turns into a model for industry work moving forward. We also, in a normal year pre-COVID, we do a really, really cool 2-day hands-on career fair where one day is dedicated specifically to middle and high school students in Oregon and Washington. And their teachers and career counselors come to the event too to learn about careers in the trades and how to get started, because as we know, so many teachers and educators know about the college path, but the paths to careers in the trades are a little bit more mysterious. And we also hold a really cool fundraising event in the fall. It's called Build With Us, where we award people in the industry, some of our tradeswomen who are coming up, showing leadership potential and growing in their careers. And it's a really fun event. We also convene a whole community of makers who donate items. So we have probably the coolest online auction of items that you can bid on. And with that, I'm just going to wrap it up to say our organization was really, really excited last year to move into a building with our own workshop where we had our offices and a 5,000 square foot training workshop for our students. And the day that our first class graduated was the day that our governor put the order out of no public gathering. So right after we moved into this gorgeous new space to ramp up our training and help even more people get into the trades, we had to shift to COVID, and we're now doing our trainings virtually, but our hopeful that we'll get back to some sort of hybrid in-person remote learning later this year, because the work hasn't slowed down. There's still a lot of demand for workers and so many people want the training. So with that, I will close and just thank you all again for having me here tonight.
Thank you very much, Mary. And one thing before we get going too far into this, if you have any questions, anything of that nature, go ahead and drop them in the chat box, and Courtney will be directing those and dealing with them. We are going to have a little bit at the end where we will be having an open discussion. And also, as we're going into the slide presentations, we ask that you say next slide, and Melody will make sure that we go to our next slide. And also remember our 5 minutes. There's a lot of companies here in the room that we want to learn about as quick as possible. So next up, I want to bring Kenichi Oniguchi, which is the Executive Director of PDBG.
Thanks, Juan. My name is Kenichi Oniguchi, and I'm the Executive Director of Professional Business Development Group, PBDG. We are a construction trade association. I'm not going to read the screen, but we serve minority-owned, women-owned, and certified firms in construction. I really appreciated the beginning parts of the introduction, because I got a sense for who was in the room, and a lot of you are familiar to me. Thank you for having me in this space. Quite a few of the business in this room actually interact with PBDG, because as a trade association, our job is to really connect the businesses that we serve, the minority-owned, women-owned, and COVID certified firms that we serve, to partners like you. So we are not only focused on contractors, but we also work to serve architects, engineers, and design firms as well. PBDG operates a technical assistance program through its separate C3. And what we do is we are able to kind of tailor our programming to level the playing field, right? Because as a trade association, we have the vantage point of interacting with many businesses. And we recognize that in our industry, women and minority-owned firms are needing the assistance to make sure that we are equitable. And in construction, I truly believe that the work that we're doing is shaping the future of our industry. We do technical assistance programs through continuing education classes. We have a mentor-protégé program that we run, and we also provide one-on-one consulting. PBDG really prides itself on creating advocacy for the firms that we serve. For example, today I testified for an access to capital bill that's near and dear to my heart personally. Prior to this work at PBDG, I used to work in commercial lending. And one of the things that I learned during my time is really construction is a 4-letter word when it comes to banks. Nobody wants to touch a small construction business. But through this access to capital bill that we were able to really move forward with the governor's office, small businesses that we serve at PBDG will have a vehicle through which they're able to borrow money just like every other business. We're very passionate about this work. Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, we have continuing education classes. Please click the link. I'll put it in the chat when I'm done to check out our next class. Every month we try and have a theme. All of our classes are virtual because of the pandemic, but they're free to minority-owned and women-owned businesses. And I hope that if you fall into that category, you'll attend. I think our last class actually just finished for the month of February. And with that, I'll just say thank you. Thank you for having me in this space. I appreciate getting to know everyone. I'll stick around for a couple minutes, and just great work.
Okay, and next up, we have with the CSI Chicago chapter, the EDI committee, Rachel Nava, and she is the chair of that committee. Rachel?
thank you guys so much for putting this on, and thank you to each and every person that's present that's working to make this space a more inclusive space for everyone. I think when we started this year, we were probably like everyone else, like, okay, we see there's a problem, but what the heck do we do about it? And so I think the first thing we acknowledge is, one, we don't know what to do about it, but like, let's have some conversation, right? So I think the first kind of step that we did was like really look at us internally. Are we reflecting Chicago? Like, if you've never been to Chicago, Chicago is very diverse. Are we reflecting, does CSI Chicago reflect in our speakers and all of the events that we do? Are we reflecting the people in our city? And we clearly are not. And so we made a concerted effort to diversify all of our speakers and anyone that's just visible in our chapter, because we wanted everyone to feel welcome. The next thing we did was we wanted to talk to our chapter and anyone else who wanted to talk to us about how do we empower and develop and encourage underrepresented people within our industry. And so we're like, okay, well, let's pull our chapter and let's have a conversation about it. So we'll be doing that in April. So hopefully some of you guys can attend and submit your questions and really get some good feedback going on. And then secondly, I think with the DE&I conversation, a lot of times people with various abilities get left out. And so we wanted to address that. Not only with a chapter meeting, we have an architect on my personal committee who is blind or visually impaired, I apologize. And we're going to do a roundtable discussing that and work to make our webinars and our virtual events, as well as our in-person events, more inclusive by providing assistance getting to the meetings for like maybe closed caption, that sort of thing. And then we're looking at who we partner with as our chapter. And so we're looking to start looking at the future as far as children. And so we are partnering with an organization here called Chicago Mobile Makers, which goes to various neighborhoods in Chicago and basically teaches kids about architecture. And we're super excited to do a workshop with them to just teach the next generation what it's like to be in the industry. And so we're super excited about that. And then partnering with an organization in Chicago called Hire 360, which they basically work with contractors and subs to increase their knowledge. And so we're hoping by offering a scholarship to them that will not just increase their knowledge, but ours, and we'll create a more knowledgeable project team. So yeah, so I thank you guys for allowing me to chit chat with you guys about all that we're doing. And I'm going to put my email in the chat box in case anyone has any suggestions or wants to partner for anything in the future.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of, Rachel's statements there, we've really kind of been keeping them involved as much as possible and on their end communicating with us as well here at CSI Portland, because we did find the same thing as we started looking to, that a lot of people don't know how to have these conversations. And so we've been kind of pushing to have that space and then also bring awareness as much as possible to all the different options and opportunities to educate ourselves as well. So thank you again, Rachel, for coming and sharing with this group. Next up, we have Partners in Diversity, and we have Mary Watanabe, the Executive Director. Is that correct?
Oh, close. Thanks, Juan. So I'm Mari Watanabe. I'm the Executive Director of Partners in Diversity, and very happy with all of you. I have several slides, but I'm going to whip through, so hopefully stay on time and not go over. So I love this photo. This is from our November 2019 Say Hey event, which I will talk more about in a minute. But remember when we used to be able to gather like this? So I love all the beautiful faces in the front there. So we were founded by business leaders 16 years ago to help employers develop a racially diverse workforce. And we are focused on Oregon and Southwest Washington. Next slide. So our mission is to really help employers create a competitive advantage for our region by attracting, retaining, and developing diversity influencers, which is basically anybody who's passionate about DEI and professionals of color. So next slide. So in the couple minutes I have, I'm going to talk to you about our work first through the programs that we have for our members who are all employers. Our members are all employers. And then also programs that we have for our professionals of color. So Intel, I know, is on this call, probably is a member, and I hope other CSI member companies think about joining us as well, take advantage of all our program. And if you want to see if your company is a member, on our website, we have all of our members listed. So take a look. So next slide. So I will start with our programs for diversity influencers. So Breakfast for Champions. This is a training that we do once a month, currently online, and we bring in professional trainers, or we have panels to really talk about various different DE&I topics. We have one actually on Thursday that we're bringing in a CEO that has changed her board and her senior staff to be more gender and employees of color. So next slide. So we also do a program called the CEO Forum. We all know that a company's top leader must own this work. So the accountability and the success of diversity, equity, inclusion really lies with those top leaders. Thus, we do trainings just for them. Next slide. We also do a program called the CEO Cohort, where these leaders can meet together certain times during the year and really take a deeper dive. We have a professional trainer that's with them so they can really learn how to lead and dive into this work deeper. So next slide. So equity conversations. These are small group conversations where we engage in deeper conversations on diversity, equity, inclusion topics. Next slide. We have an upcoming Northwest Equity Summit on May 4th and 5th with nationally and global speakers. All of them are focused on diversifying the workplace. Tickets will go on sale on March 3rd. So this is our first time to do this. It used to be the PGE Diversity Summit, if any of you were familiar with that. Next slide. We also do research projects, again, to help our employers be better employers from a workforce diversity standpoint. So the first project we worked on was really how to better recruit in the communities of color. And then the research that we released last July is how to better retain our professionals of color. We have a very our ability to retain professionals of color in Oregon is really low. So we did develop this research and solutions to help our employers implement better policies and practices. Next one. So now I'm going to talk about programs for our professionals of color. So Say Hey is our most popular and widely known program. Its focus is to introduce our new professionals of color that moved to Oregon to our multicultural community, because we know if they do not get connected, they will leave. And that was research that we did on the retention. Next slide. We also have a newsletter and a community board. So if you are interested in signing up for our newsletter, you can go to our website and do that. We also, next slide, we have a career center. So, the next slide should be, so newsletter. I think I got those two slides mixed up. Anyway, we have a career center. So if you're interested in a job, we have hundreds and hundreds of jobs posted on our career center. And then I think our last slide is how you can get involved as an organization. So I hope you connect with us. You can go to the last slide. So that's our email and our website. And I think my time is up. So thank you And if anybody has any questions, I'll throw my contact in the chat box. Thank you.
Man, you did awesome, Mari. Quick question, is Tony here yet with Imagine It?
I don't see him, Juan.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on then. So next we have NOMA PDX, and we have Pooja, who is the chapter president.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pooja, president of the new Portland chapter of NOMA. So NOMA stands for the National Organization of Minority Architects. We also have student chapters as well, and we are celebrating 50 years this year. If you go to the next slide, I'll tell you a bit about our history. NOMA was founded by 12 African American architects who were at an AIA convention and felt that they were not being represented or heard, and realized the need for an organization that was focused on their growth and development, specifically for minority architects. And so they founded NOMA. Next slide. So NOMA nationally is recognized as a professional organization that champions diversity, community engagement, and professional development. So we're multicultural, multidisciplinary, and community-based nonprofit. The real goal of NOMA is to increase the number of women and minorities in the profession and achieving licensure. And we really emphasize that we're all inclusive. We try to be open to the entire AEC industry, people of all colors, including allies. That's a huge focus of ours. Next slide. So what does NOMA do? And this is really speaking nationally, and each chapter kind of varies depending on their focus. But nationally, there's a focus on community outreach. So doing community service as well as Project Pipeline. I'm not sure if many of you have heard of Project Pipeline, but it's a program geared towards middle and high schoolers to get students interested in architecture at an early age. There's also a focus on connecting with universities, so supporting the local NOMAS chapters, NOMA student chapters, also providing them mentorship, hosting career fairs and job search seminars, doing portfolio reviews, that sort of thing. And hosting an annual student design competition. And then finally, there's a huge focus on professional development. So recently, NOMA released extra resources to help people achieve licensure, so exam prep help, as well as providing business workshops and mixers, a huge networking focus, and an annual NOMA conference. So this past year, it was virtual, which was awesome. Got a lot of people able to participate who normally wouldn't be able to travel for that. Next slide. So we are not alone. There's over 30 chapters, 30 NOMA chapters with over 2,000 members across the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean islands. Most recently, our chapter in Oregon. You can see a few of our leaders on the page. Gary Nelson, specifically with NOMA West region, who oversees the chapters you're seeing on the slide, has been a huge help to us. He even talked to Alexander in prep for this meeting and has been a great resource for us to connect with national. Next slide. So let's get into NOMA PDX. NOMA PDX was founded officially in January, but actually started this past summer. There were 3 Latina students who realized that NOMA did not have a Portland chapter and thought, you know what? Let's start one. Doesn't matter that we're students, this needs to happen. Portland needs a chapter. And so they, some of you may have seen this Instagram post, but that's kind of how it started. And they made a call to Portland professionals, and we together formed a board. I won't read all of the text on the screen, and this is all on our website. But basically our mission in PDX is to empower local creatives, amplify underrepresented experiences within the design community, and advocate for social justice, equity, and equality through design achievement, community engagement, and professional development. Next slide. So this is a glimpse of our board. You can see a bunch of us were really excited to get this chapter off the ground. Our board is almost half students, which is pretty neat. We're not quite ready to split off into a NOMAS chapter. We feel we're kind of stronger together, knowing that Portland is not the most diverse place. So quick glimpse of our board. Next slide. So this screenshot is actually a Miro board from our first membership recruiting event. It's not interactive. I could include the link, but basically we reached out to our members or potential members and asked people, you know, what do you want to see come out of our chapter? Because we wanted what the chapter does to be determined by our members. But some of the other things we've been working on are a call to action. So various NOMA chapters have developed call to actions that firms can sign on to. So we are adopting NOMA Northwest call to action and running it by local firms and the AIA to kind of get that approved and released in Portland. We're hoping to have a project pipeline camp here in Portland at some point, if not this summer, then maybe next. And then we're currently working to develop connections with universities, participating in crits and providing resources to students to better connect them with professionals. So that's just a glimpse of where we're at, but more to come with our initiatives. Next slide. So to join, you can join as a business and you join the President's Circle. So there's a bit of information there on the left. You can also join as an individual. You pay national and chapter dues similar to the AIA. So there's a link there at the bottom if you're interested. Next slide. And then to stay connected, I've included a bunch of links. We're on all the socials. And if you have any questions about NOMA PDX, please email nomaportland@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pooja. Sounds like exciting times for NOMA. Next up is Julie Foscoli, Rockstar Julie Foscoli with NAWIC.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Foscoli with NAWIC, and I'm in the Salem chapter. My friend Charis is here tonight too. She's with the Portland chapter of NAWIC. So NAWIC is National Association of Women in Construction, and it is, let's see, it was founded in 1953. We have 115 chapters across the United States, including Guam, which is part of our region. And it's just kind of like, I mean, all these organizations, it's really a place to belong, a place for people to come together. You know, we are women in construction, and it's not easy. You know, you're put down, you're told you can't do it, you're asked constantly and double checked. You know, you're having to prove your worth all the time. And so I know I came into it super shy, super, you know, in the corner, not knowing what I was doing. And I came to this meeting, and NAWIC pushes their members to be leaders, you know, so, hey, will you stand up and sign up for this committee? Will you sign up for this board? Will you take this position? And, you know, you're climbing these steps. I'm the vice president of our chapter now, and I'm the marketing director for the region. And, you know, I love it. And I stand up, I talk, I reach out to young girls at, you know, programs and CTE programs in high schools. And I just can't say enough good about it. It changed my life. So Charis, do you want to say anything about the Portland chapter?
Sure. I am Charis Sunny Finney, and I'm with Anchor Insurance and Surety. I am the president of the Portland chapter. So our core purpose is to enhance the success of women in the construction industry. So how NAWIC does that is we promote women's advancements and growth in the industry through education, support, and community involvement. We just want women and girls to know that construction is a viable option for a career. About the Portland chapter, we are celebrating our 60th year this year. We were founded in 1961 in Portland. We hold our meetings on the third Thursday of every month, except for in March, which we are having WIC Week on March 7th through 13th. We have a big slate of events. So on March 8th, we are doing a virtual paint night. And these are things that anyone can join. You can just go to our website, which is NAWICportland54.org. We have a few panels where we're having Sierra Pressler come in, and she is going to do a presentation on creating career long-term relationships. We have 2 virtual job site tours. One is conducted by Turner Construction. They're doing their 11W project. We also have a virtual tour hosted by Lise Crutcher Lewis on the Oregon Zoo. And then on Friday, we have a diversity and inclusion virtual panel by some of our members. And then we are also doing a little bit of fun activity that night. We're doing a virtual whiskey tasting tour. And then these are all online. And then if you have any, we also have a scholarship that we are awarding, and the deadline for that is February 28th. We have 1 trade scholarship and we have 2 college and university scholarships. If you have any questions about that, please send me a message and I will email you the information. A few of the past few years, we haven't been able to award some of the trade scholarships, so it would be really nice to make sure that all of our money is used. Julie, do you have anything from the Salem?
Yeah, Salem has a whole bunch of activities, but also I will say we compete amongst chapters a little bit. So Charis is kind of showing us up. But we are doing a tent pub crawl. So we're going from tent to tent on Friday. We've got a virtual party with everybody in the region happening. We got a few job walks, Pence Construction, Dalkey Construction in Salem. And then we're doing a wine and paint virtually. So, we just got some fun things. On Wednesday during WIC Week, we do a really fun, it's walk at the waterfront in your WIC wear with women and bring your waggly woofer. And I think there's some other W in there. We used to get wine afterwards, but we won't be able to go to a restaurant at this point, but yeah, I think that's about it. It's a great organization. I love it. I love, how all these women band together and support one another and reach out. And I can contact somebody in New York and ask them questions and all over the place. It's pretty cool.
Thank you very much, NAWIC. I want to take a quick moment to recognize NAWIC and especially Julie Fiscoli with as some of us know, there was wildfires that happened this year in Oregon, and Julie has kind of been spearheading what's it called? The San Am Canyon Rebuild Coalition, where we're building sheds. There's been a request for 250 sheds to help the individuals who have been affected by those fires. And Julie's been doing a lot of work around that, and also the NAWIC chapter there in Salem, of course, AGC, a lot of other members as well. White Oak Construction recently got the shed, Southtown Glass bought another shed. So anyhow, if you're interested in getting involved in that and helping us out, get in contact with Julie and support as we help the community there. Okay, so thanks again, NAWIC. Moving on to Constructing Hope, we have Melody, who is on our team as our secretary, and she will be speaking about Constructing Hope.
Sorry, let me pause my slideshow so I can pull up a little video that really kind of had kind of the heart of Constructing Hope. So Constructing Hope, I first heard of them when we actually sponsored them, or we donated some money to them at our December Emerging Professionals meeting. So I'm not even sure how Maddie and Miranda found them, but they are an amazing Portland chapter, or I'm sorry, hold on. Let me not talk and try to do my slides at the same time. So I'm going to pause my share because I also am not sure if I hit the sound button when I shared my screen. So give me one moment to pull up this video. Oh goodness. Hold on and show. There we go. So this organization just, I don't know why it struck such a chord with me. I really love them, and they just seem like such an amazing group of people that really is making an amazing difference in Portland. So I am going to share again and make sure that I clicked the sound button this time and optimize. Okay, and I clicked the wrong screen. Here we go. All right. Just a second.
When I decided that I was going to start this program, it was a struggle, but it's still here today.
While the rest of society says they can't do anything for us, they don't want anything to do with us, Constructing Hope says, get them here. We're going to build them up.
We are very excited. Tonight we're celebrating the graduation of our spring 2018 class. We're graduating 20 people.
This is a good job for people coming out of incarceration because when they are put into institutions, they're spending a long time there, and nobody thinks about the amount of time that it takes to re-enter.
Once you get a felony on your record, it's really hard to get a job. I mean, even to get a place to live, they're checking for, backgrounds and felonies and stuff like that. So if you coming out of high school and college is not your thing or you can't afford it, which a lot of people really can't, people go in debt trying to go to college, I would go through the program because 10 weeks, I was making 17 bucks an hour. And a week after that, I'll say 2 weeks after that, I was making 28 bucks an hour.
Anyone that I've ever talked to, they've spent 10 weeks of their life and they've wasted it. They've wasted 10 weeks of their life, whether it was trying to figure out what they wanted to do, if they went to school and ended up changing their mind, like they didn't want to continue with it. Why not take the chance and do something that's actually going to better yourself, even if it's a sacrifice, because you've done it before and it didn't kill you.
We send you through a number of things to get prepared to come in, but when we interview you, we're looking to see, is this a really strong desire? Do you know what construction is? And if you have the desire, then we're going to help you build the confidence and the basic skills to walk through that door. And we're assuring you that we're going to hold your hand.
I was really laser focused on nailing my re-interview with IBEW because originally I had ranked 300.
So when Vic came into the information session, I really wanted him to see what an opportunity this was to change his life.
He was very focused, always wanted to be an electrician, but I remember him coming into class not knowing a lot about construction.
It wasn't a great rank, so there wasn't a good chance that I was going to get in. But thanks to Constructing Hope and the mentorship that they provided me, I go into the interview, I'm prepared, and lo and behold, I rank #1 in the re-interview, and I credit that all to Constructing Hope.
Because I came out being homeless, living underneath the bridge in a tent, and it wasn't a challenge coming to class because I wanted to better myself. I didn't care about the pay. All my payment was for certifications and all the time they spent on training us and helping us get where we are now. They even helped me finding me a place for housing. They got me housing, so now me and my wife have our own place. And they've done a lot. I didn't need to get paid money. I was getting paid every day, just by being in class.
But when you have a specialized skill in the construction trades, something that's specifically yours, you can take that anywhere. It's like breaking the bars on your life. Like, you have so much freedom now. Once you get your journeyman license, you can take that anywhere in the world.
Our whole job is to remove any barriers that's going to stop you from being successful. While you're here, you're getting to talk one-on-one, not to me, but to that electrician, to that heavy equipment operator, to that laborer. I'm not gonna be the one to tell you how to get in the trades. The people in the trades are gonna tell you how to get in the trades and what's the best thing to do. You can't beat that.
So just to give you a little bit more information, they have some really, really cool ways to get involved and give back as well. They have a lot of different volunteer opportunities, including even just helping to spread their message via social media, which is a pretty easy one that a lot of us could probably take on. They also need things like math tutors and speakers. they have some really cool ways to donate, but then they also have some stuff that I thought, well, that's easy. You can actually do an Amazon Smile donation. If you're not familiar with that already, if you just go to Amazon Smile instead of just Amazon, you can choose a organization, and there's a lot of different local organizations you can choose on there, but Constructing Hope is on there. And then I just saw this when I was doing my research for tonight, Fred Meyer Rewards. If you shop at Fred Meyer, you can actually select Constructing Hope through their community rewards program to give back a little bit there. So they have a lot of amazing programs and events, and they also kind of had just ramped up and gotten like into a new space to do some great training last year, right as the pandemic hit. So, but they have also done some great transitioning to some online things, and I know they're gonna jump right back into the mix of it once things are back. So yeah, you can follow them for more information, and we will move back to the slideshow. Give me just one moment with my very smooth transition.
So to answer your question, Melody, how did we find Constructing Hope? In 2019, the emerging professionals, we hosted for November, for Thanksgiving, we hosted an event where we did kind of the same thing that we're doing here, but we did it with nonprofits.
Yes.
So we had a big bunch of nonprofits around construction come and speak to us, and Pat Daniels was one of them.
Very nice. Well,
so next up is a word from our sponsor, Dave Wright, the Executive VP of Hunter Davison. You hear, Dave?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
We can. The floor is yours.
Great. New microphone. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here. And Juan, thank you for inviting me. So that's our company. I don't really want to spend any time talking about us. I want to talk about a coalition that I've joined. If you could jump to the next slide. I think I saw one, Safe from Hate. Okay, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I apologize for that. But I'm here to talk about Safe from Hate. And just a little background on how it got started. So I am a mechanical contractor. I'm what you call a specialty contractor here in Portland. We've been around for 56 years. We do mechanical, we do HVAC, heating, air conditioning, refrigeration. We work direct for owners, and we also work for general contractors, a lot of work for general contractors. So I want to say it was about within the last 2 years, there was a terrible incident of racism on a job site in downtown Portland where a noose was found. And the victim reported the incident to their supervisor, but ultimately it didn't go anywhere. And eventually the CEO of that company found out about it, and he was mortified, to say the least, mortified. And so he got the police involved, he got the FBI involved, and by the way, it's Anderson Construction. You probably read about it. And Joel, the CEO, one of the things that I'm very humbled by how he talks about this. He's very open about it. There was a lot of shame. There was, and I'm so thankful that he's so real and willing to share his experience, because it's going to make all of us better. And so what he did was he got some other contractors together. It started with about 25 of them. At this point, it was just made up of general contractors, and they wanted to address this, cold reality that just, we have to deal with. And the fact is that in the construction industry, racism and sexism is prevalent, and it continues to create a hostile work environment. And that disproportionately harms women, Black people, Indigenous, and other people of color. And that's not right. And so they got together and decided, okay, what are we going to do to tackle this? And what they did is they came up with a job site culture pledge. And within that pledge, and it's really well done, what they did is they created 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are this: we will enforce a zero tolerance policy against sexism and racism. And zero tolerance, really what that means is if there's an incident, you deal with it immediately. And it doesn't mean that you're just going to fire everybody, but you seek to understand the individuals, the perpetrator, the individual's comment or action. Was it purposeful or was it out of ignorance? If it's purposeful, we have a different situation to deal with. Ignorance is, through education, and typically it's through education, and those could be, that could be pretty successful. Purposeful, that's intentional, may or may not be able to correct that behavior, and that person might be let go, sent off the job site. Pillar 2, we will implement and expand positive job site culture education on all of our job sites. 3, continue to work with our community partners to support and recruit diverse talent. And that's many of you on this call tonight, working with you all. And then we'll cultivate retention and leadership development efforts. And so they put this pledge together, and then they invited the subcontractors and partners within the community, such as you all, NAMAC, NAWIC, all the acronyms are in these meetings, and they're held once a month. And we've typically had over 300 attendees, so it's really starting to gain a lot of momentum. And so they bring in speakers from our community. These are tradespeople, they're people in management, they're business owners. Most, they're women and people of color, and they're making themselves very vulnerable and telling us their experiences, that things that they've experienced. I mean, in our little town of Portland, Oregon, and it's quite, to those of us who are not exposed and who have had the privilege of not being marginalized, and it's astonishing, it's eye-opening, and we're going to do something about it. And so those people speaking has really made a very big difference. It just makes it very real. And so our goal, ultimately the goal of this, is to create an inviting environment where people who are normally marginalized feel welcome. We want as an industry, we want people to feel like they belong here, and like they're not going to be discriminated against when they come into our industry. And being an industry that's historically been dominated by white males, there's some barriers, there's some things that need to be corrected. And this in our region, in our area, this I think is a start to it. Very excited about it. So, when I think of JEDI, justice, equity, diversity, inclusion, we can't have justice, equity, and diversity unless we have inclusion. We want to include these people and have them feel like they want to work in our industry before we can have those other things. And so our goal is to create an inviting environment, and where people will want to work. And why? Why is that so important? Well, for one, the skilled trades provide a great opportunity for people. The pay is outstanding. We pay for their education. We pay for 4-year trade. We're an open shop. Union companies, they do the same. I mean, we pay for their education, 4-year trade. These people get out and they have great benefits, great pay, sustainable work. It's transferable. You can, live in different states and take your skill with you. Family wages, it's great. And everybody deserves a shot at that. And so that in a nutshell is what Safe from Hate is trying to do. Create a welcoming environment for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. We really appreciate that. And it's very important stuff that's going on there. A lot of people at the table. And I want you to rest assured that knowing that your money for sponsorship will be going to a nonprofit that's focused around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And also a big shout out to Anderson Construction on this, Joel and the whole team over there, from, redoing trailers to building schools in Africa to, donating to Girls Build. And then, of course, leading this initiative as well, you know, just great stuff for the community. Thank you once again, Dave. Next up, we have Natalia from Latino Built.
Thank you, Juan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalie Pardo. I'm the program manager at Latino Built. For those of you who don't know who we are, Latino Built is a trade association for Latino contractors. Our primary purpose is to support and empower Latino-owned businesses in construction. We work with partners within the community to address current inequalities and connect contractors to public work project opportunities. The way I like to sum it all up is we are the resource hub for Latino-owned construction businesses. So if you have questions about the field, we're happy to help connect and assist you. We are fairly young. We were founded in 2019. Right now we have over 90 members across the state of Oregon and Southwest Washington. We continue to grow. And so ways that we primarily serve our members is by providing monthly workshops and trainings in both English and in Spanish around topics that our members want to know more about. So for example, next month, we will be hosting an in-person safety leadership workshop for 10 of our members, and this workshop will actually be hosted all in Spanish, and all materials will be given to the participants as well. So if you want to learn more about what's the event I just mentioned or our organization or how you can become a member, you'll want to visit our website, as you can see on the slide there, latinobuilt.org. You can also find our social channels, so Facebook, Instagram, we have a YouTube channel. If you want to take a sneak peek on what kind of workshops we've hosted in the past, our workshops are actually recorded and they are on our YouTube channel. So if you want to take a peek, you can do that there. Or if you just don't know where to go, you have more questions, you can email us at info@latinobuilt.org. And I'll add that email in the chat so you have it there. But that's a summary of what we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalia, and we appreciate your time and good stuff. Next up is OAME. OAME was not able to be present, so I am going to be covering for them. So OAME was formed by Sam Brooks in 1987. The mission that they have is to promote and develop entrepreneurship and economic development for ethnic minorities in the states of Oregon and Southwest Washington. OAME is an all-inclusive organization and encourages everyone to live by our motto. Everyone is in and nobody's out. So everybody's in and nobody's out. They have 850 member associations and a collection of entrepreneurs, public agencies, partner nonprofits, and large businesses. Their mission is directed towards eliminating discrimination and racism. They are located in Delta Park. The services that they provide are free technical assistance, business consulting, access to capital, including SBA microloans, Clearhouse, a program that matches small businesses with contracting opportunities, incubator office spaces at below market rates, large bi-monthly network meetings to promote business growth. And I tell you, when they say large, they are not playing. I have attended these meetings. They are fabulous. The group that is there is an awesome group. They represent the construction industry in many facets. There's, like they said, public and private sectors are in there. Their next event is the 26th at 7 a.m. That will be Coffee and Issues. And then after that, it's March 12th at 7:30 a.m., which will be the Contractors AEPT meeting, and the Veterans Committee meeting will be held directly after that. You can check out their website at oame.org. Say hi to Kenyatta when you decide to become a member. She is awesome. Next slide, please. So next up is the Port of Portland's Mentor-PROTÉGÉ program. They were not able to attend either, so I will keep the party going and I will present them as well. The program was formed in 1995. It was developed to overcome barriers for small businesses that small businesses face when trying to do business with government agencies. They've been in service, like I said, since 1995, and it is a 3-year-long program for the protégés. And typical services that they will provide are bookkeeping, marketing, estimating, proposal writing, bonding assistance, software development, project management, human resources, safety. The unique part about this program is that it is for CoEDI certified firms. For those of you that don't know what CoEDI certification is, it stands for Certification Office for Business Inclusion and Diversity. Typically, that will be your small emerging, your women-owned, your minority-owned, your disabled veteran. I may be missing one or two. There's a pretty robust list. For more information there, I cannot see the portaportland/mpp.com, and you can get more information about the Mentor-Protégé program. So if you're a small company and you're looking at getting into public work, you might want to look into this program. And let's move on to our next slide. Next up, we have the AGC's DEI committee, and we have Mike Salzgiver here, who is the executive director, and he will be representing the AGC Oregon Columbia chapter. Mike Salzgiver.
Good evening. Thank you, Juan. Good evening, everybody. I want to say it's good to be back with CSI. I have done a number of events with you over the years and always enjoy it. I'm like one of the earlier speakers. I'd much rather be with you in person, but we'll give that a go here as the world starts to reopen. I'm going to try to be real quick here. DEI is not new to AGC. As a nearly 100-year association, we've been engaged in this issue for many, many decades. And many of the programs that you have heard about tonight have either been started by our members or supported by our members for many, many decades. So we're pleased and proud of that record. But the fact is that there's clearly still more to do. And so we are. Since last summer, there's a number of things that are going on. You heard from Dave, right, from Hunter Davison about the Safe from Hate initiative. AGC, right after the George Floyd murder at the end of May, AGC's there was a spontaneous gathering of some general contractors that started meeting in the latter part of June, and it has met regularly almost every other week since then to begin to identify actions that it can take, programs, initiatives, policies that can be adopted and pursued. And this gathering has snowballed quite a bit over that time. We've been holding, we also have a third Thursday at 3 gathering. And those just started last month. They're already up to over 200 contractors and other people attending those under the banner of the Safe from Hate initiative. And so rather than restate all that, just know that we are partnering with NAMAC of Oregon, the National Association of Minority Contractors, Latino Built, the Oregon Tradeswomen, the Plumbers and Mechanical Contractors Association. We're very active in working with these and other organizations to begin to push forward on driving education, discussion, learning how to talk about these issues and do better as human beings. Internally, we started a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council, and we had our first organizational meeting in early February, and I anticipate that that's going to lead to even more activity as we go down the road. So we're, as I mentioned, we're a 100-year-old organization. We have 830 members, but we view ourselves as marching in this parade. We are one of many and view ourselves as partners, and it's off to a very good start. The job now is to sustain that as we go forward. So again, thank you for inviting us here today. And I wish everyone here the best and look forward to working with you on this critical topic as we move forward.
Thank you very much, Mike, for taking the time to be here with us tonight and to speak on such an important topic. Next, we have AIA CoEDI, and Courtney Strong, our secretary, is going to be speaking about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to share a little bit about a couple organizations besides CSI that I'm a part of and what they're doing. So a lot of people are familiar with the AIA, but if you're not familiar with their JEDI and their Equity, Inclusion, Diversity and Inclusion Commission, they started in 2015. There was a commission put together to kind of start the work within the national organization, and they have worked through to 2017 when they put out nationally their executive summary on EDI, and that spurred a lot of information that they've put out regarding the practice guides for equitable practice in the architecture community and industry. And a lot of their information is available on the national website, but locally, the AIA Oregon chapter also has a committee and works towards their purpose and mission of the AIA Portland chapter is on equity, diversity, inclusion to better reflect the global and demographic richness of our population through advocacy for underrepresented groups in our profession. And they have 4 keystones to their mission locally: supporting firms in attracting and developing, retaining the best talent, providing mentorship opportunities at all phases of the professional pipeline, beginning with early education in the quick K-12 market, facilitating connections to the broader community, and promoting the value of design and its contributions to and from our society. And locally, they do put on a summit in the fall. I attended this last year. Obviously, it was virtual. It was a 4-day event, multiple speakers across the nation. Really interesting looking at what firms can be doing locally to guide their firms in both the practice of, as some people have talked about, the pipeline of diversity in our industry, bringing more people of color into our community and making sure that we retain them and support them through their journey towards licensure. As far as locally events, they host their monthly planning meetings. So if you're interested to find out kind of what they're doing and what's kind of coming up next on the 4th Thursday of every month, and you can find that on the website listed there. So if you want to flip slides, I'm going to also share a little bit about another organization that I'm a member of. We refer to it as A4LE, which stands for Association for Learning Environments. So as a practicing architect who participates in the design of K-12 education and higher ed, this organization focuses specifically on the enhancement of educational experiences and spaces within our industry and how it relates to planning and facilities maintenance. And so A4LE has just begun their process of nationally, they have they have established their national committee. We have 2 local chairs, Ross Peters from IBI Group up in Seattle and Julia Hawkinson. I forget what company she's with, but she's actually been a longtime facilities planner down in the Los Angeles school district area. So she comes from the facilities and education side. So she has a really interesting perspective that she's bringing to how we can really impact the schools that we're creating for not only the students and people who experience the school, but for the local community. So regionally, the Northwest chapter just last week had our first kickoff on bringing in new executive directors for regional. So we're starting to formulate regional chairs so that national has input from each of our different chapters. So we're really just starting to kick off. They're doing some JEDI happy hours, and they're active on a Facebook group, A4LE, online on Facebook, as I mentioned. So check them out if you're interested to learn more about A4LE. Thank you, Juan.
Okay, next we have NAMAC. Molly Washington is going to be speaking with us. She's actually in a Native American Youth and Family Center meeting right now, and she's going to be hopping on after that. So if we could move past this, we'll circle back around. So next up, we have Hannaberry Eddy Architects, and we have our president, Alexander, is going to be speaking. So Alexander, go ahead and take it away.
Yes, so hi, just real quick. I wanted to share about a program that Hannaberry Eddy is putting on. It first started with a discussion on Juneteenth 2020, and the wish was expressed to increase awareness amongst the staff and all of us of diversity, equity, and inclusion issues in society. And so one of the one of the approaches that we sort of identified was to create a book club. And we created a book and media club. And you can see our first poster basically on the right side there. And this book and media club meets once every 2 months. And everybody's invited to join. Our mission statement is to foster an inclusive workplace where diverse perspectives and experiences are valued and sought after amongst colleagues. And we have created these posters that are coming out every 2-3 months. And as I said, the first one was about racism in the justice system. And typically on the poster, we show sources that discuss this issue. So we typically have a book, we have a speech or an essay, a podcast, TV show, a movie, and documentary. Because not everybody has time to read a book, and so you can choose some of the shorter ones. But it sort of like opens the eye of the participants, or the eyes of the participants, to issues. And on the side there on the left, you probably can't see that very well, but there's like questions to consider as you are going through this information. And like, for example, what is the most surprising, intriguing aspect of your selected source? Or what specific part struck you, or have you gained a new perspective? Or do you feel different now, and how probable is success? And just to give a little example, so for our first event, November 5th, 2020, it was racism in the justice system, and the book was The New Jim Crow, which argued that we have not ended the racial caste in America, and we have merely redesigned it in form of mass incarceration, which is makes a similar argument than the last point, which is the documentary, which is called 13th, which addresses the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. And it focused on the fact that the nation's prisons are disproportionately filled with African Americans. And the podcast listed under number 3 is called Ear Hustle, and it's put together with inmates from the San Quentin prison, and was very, very eye-opening to me. There's, of course, John Lewis's speech here from 1963 from the March on Washington, and there was a TV show and a movie listed here that addressed African Americans incorrectly accused and convicted of crimes that, as I said, that they didn't commit. Our second program was about racism in U.S. history education. It happened 7th of January in 2021, and again there were the 6 pieces, and what stood out to me here is the third one, which was Code Switch, which is the podcast, and it was hosted by journalists of colors that discusses how race impacts everyday society. There were 2 very long segments about the teacher strikes in New York in 1968 and where it came from, and which was a very innocent approach and what it turned into. And this point here, we have listed also as TV show, Adam Ruins Everything, which is actually available. I think you can see it on YouTube. At least that's where I watched it. But he ruins immigration, and so like what immigration is being depicted as, but what it actually really is, and where all the different immigration discussions are actually sort of like put on a very interesting point of view, like by I think it was a Stanford or Princeton professor who has been studying immigration since 1982. And next to the TV show, he also has a podcast that then the TV show is typically only 6 minutes, but the podcast then goes a whole hour and addresses these issues in much more detail. Upcoming March 4th, we have exclusion and discrimination in the built environment. And the book that we're proposing here is The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, which the book examines the intentional segregation of American cities through laws and policy decisions rather than decisions of the individual. So redlining basically is being addressed there. And number 5 lists a little movie. It's about 20 minutes long. It's fantastic. It's called Segregated by Design. And it's the visualization basically of the book that I just mentioned. Again, Adam ruins everything with the suburbs, and the last one listed here is a documentary, Life's Worth Living, which is a PBS documentary that follows the disability rights movement and the fight for equal access that eventually led to the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we will share these posters I think either in the chat or on the website, and feel free to look at them. They're fantastic sources and they're really, really eye-opening. That's what I had.
Thank you, Alexander. That's a great segue into the Americans with Disabilities Act. And we're gonna have Melody cover that.
Yes, so we definitely wanted to make sure that as this group, we were covering this important aspect as well, and making sure, you know, we're really considering things here. So this is just a list that I found at that website listed at the bottom, but basically it just even shows the multitude of different disabilities and different services, you know, including things like mental health and visual impaired, and you know, it's not just the person in the wheelchair that's handicapped. So and there are some cities who have updated that old handicap logo of the static person in the chair to a more dynamic logo. And some have changed to use the word reserved instead of handicapped on signage and things like that. And one of the big things that I'm not going to get too far down the rabbit hole on here, but is your website accessible? Technology is something that, you know, you don't always necessarily think of when you think of accessibility, but it's huge. If you can't get in, and you know, documents like PDFs in particular can be very difficult to read and to get translated by other visual impaired and braille type tools. So there are resources online, and that one that I listed is a toolkit that has a lot of things about, you know, even like addressing colors and colorblind on your website. So that's a really good resource to go to. And it also kind of leads into another Oregon specific one, which is a program called WorkSource Oregon. And as it says on the bottom, this is an equal opportunity employer program, and they provide auxiliary aids and services to individuals with disabilities and free language assistance. So if someone has limited English proficiency, they can, you know, get into this program and get assistance there. Or if, you know, maybe they need some special piece of office equipment to do their job better, they can get that through this program. So I think Juan knows a little bit more about this as well. So I was going to transition it over to him with this. And if you want to add anything else about WorkSource.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Kim Alejo, she can really help out, and she can provide like education to your company and kind of teach your company a little bit of how, you know, if you're wanting to become more inclusive when it comes to people with disabilities, she can kind of come in and work with your HR and kind of educate them on the best practices and just really educate your team, as well as working with people that have disabilities. And so back to what Rachel had said early on, we had found that when we talk about inclusion, that we really want to be inclusive as much as possible and give everybody a platform to exercise their freedom. So that's what I have there. Also WorkSource, if you're around the construction area, we have access to Gabriel Salamanca, who focuses on recruiting for the construction industry. So if you are interested in that, then go ahead and reach out to me and I can get you connected with him. Also, veterans resources. You have, the Voc Rehab there is Sean Kelso down there, and he can really help out with working with veterans. Some veterans have some handicaps, and it helps to be aware of those as you're bringing them in. There's a retention study that has been conducted here at Portland State University with Leslie Hammer for the Department of Defense. And I encourage you, if you're going to be working with veterans and you're going to be bringing them into your company, then I would recommend reading her findings and diving into it. And she has like a program that can educate your team, help your team when it comes to supporting veterans. That's how we support, and it shows how to retain people. They say it's helped with veterans, but it's also helped with retention in general for companies. So it's something to think about, especially if you're in a leadership role. So that's pretty much my part there. Go to next slide.
Sure. Do you know if Molly was able to make it? That is about the end of our little.
Let's see. She has not said nothing to me. I do not see her there.
Pop in.
So if we want to go back to the NAMAC slide, I did pull up their website so we can keep the show going forward. We have their mission statement here. So like we said, we were hoping that Molly would be here. She got held up in another meeting. So as they say in Hollywood, the show must go on. We do want people to be aware of NAMAC. It stands for National Association of Minority Contractors. From my understanding, maybe Mike, you might be able to help me out here too, Salzgiver. From my understanding, there's chapters around the United States. Their NAMAC mission, that is correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, the NAMAC mission states here, advocate and support BIPOC-owned businesses by optimizing project participation and providing business development through education and training. The NAMAC vision is to grow the power of NAMAC Oregon to secure its vision of an Oregon that has fair and equitable contracting and profitable BIPOC-owned businesses and sustainable diverse workforce. So NAMAC currently also has, they're building an academy, right, Mike? Is that with you guys? A little bit, educational resources. You had mentioned also about the event, right? That's the third Thursday of the month.
That's correct. We have been working with them for the last 2 years to build a program to educate and train minority contractors to be better businesses. And that program is doing quite well. And then together, NAMAC, AGC, Latino Built, other organizations are co-hosting these third Thursday meetings that have just begun.
Right. And that's around the Safe from Hate, right?
That's correct. But I can envision that it will go broader.
Right. Makes sense. So for more information on their events, you can visit NAMAC-org. Oh, it's right there, Oregon.org. Unfortunately, Molly was not able to make it, so we wing that. And then let's go on to our next part of our event. Yeah, so we're going to dive into our mission, right? As the JEDI committee here, this is what we came up with, which was brought to our board. And it is the mission of the JEDI committee to ensure the principles of justice, equity, diversity, inclusion are represented in all aspects of CSI Portland, and for our chapter to serve as a welcome and respectful place for everyone, regardless of race, nationality, age, gender, religion, ability, or opinion. We seek to inform and educate in order to better support underserved groups through outreach, connections, and open dialogue. And we went through this. I mean, we really thought about our verbiage, and we made sure that we were implementing that justice part and being advocates as much as possible, you know, with the platform that we have. So next slide. These are our goals coming up. You know, there's quite a bit there. You know, you can kind of go through that. These goals will be available on our website pretty soon. We're right in the middle of building our JEDI page. You can find our committees, and under our committees, eventually you'll be able to click the link there and it will go to the JEDI page. As you can see, some of these are complete, some of them are in process. We actually recently released our blog in the Predicator, which dives a little bit deeper into what we got going on. Also kind of some of our perspective on where we're currently at and what we can do moving forward. And then, yeah, go ahead, let's get past this. So yeah, so now it's like, you know, we want to open up the floor. I know we came right into 7 o'clock. So, I mean, I understand if people are needing to leave, but we would really like to have some sort of discussion now that we've all been here and had the ability to kind of share and see if any ideas have came to mind right away. You know, it looks like some of it started already in the chat.
Added a couple of questions here as well, as far as just to kind of get your brain juices flowing and, you know, things to think about or, you know, take away from this. And hopefully we've all learned a little something about maybe an organization we didn't know about tonight, and have identified something that maybe clicked or something you want to pursue further.
Yeah, that was really the goal, right? Was to get us all kind of thinking and seeing some things that maybe we didn't see before.
Well, I just want to say that I am happy that we recorded this, because I really want to share this as soon as it's up on YouTube to all the different social media platforms. And I know CSI will be doing the same just to get more involvement.
I also wanted to add that the JEDI committee is open to other CSI Portland members. So if there's any other members that want to join us, please contact me or Juan. We would love to have more voices and people, and we are also super excited to have all the guest speakers that came tonight and all these wonderful groups that are doing amazing things. And we want CSI Portland to be a resource for you all. We want to help you guys all support the amazing missions and programs that you're working on. So if you can think of speakers or volunteers that you need for an event, reach out to us. We would love to be a part. And I also handle a lot of the social media posts for our chapter. And we are also trying to actively, that's part of our outreach, is to help, you know, kind of spread the word of some other things that are going on around Portland and around the world of JEDI topics. So share with us, please.
So I actually, if it's possible to get a list of everybody that was on here and contact information, I know there's some in the chat and I've written down a bunch, but you know, as an employer, having some resources for our employees to, you know, to reach out to or connect them with and say, hey, I know somebody there, not just here's a pamphlet, go check it out, but hey, I know somebody, I'm going to get you connected with them and they can help you. I think that speaks volumes right there. So.
Yeah, we're looking to, like, you know, put together like an email, I guess, for everybody that was in attendance and send that out with those resources. Ultimately, we do want to get those resources on that page on our website, but for the intermediate, then we'll definitely look at emailing them out to everybody. So that way we have these resources to all the different associations and whatnot. Thanks for bringing that up, Julie.
Yeah, thank you. This was pretty awesome. Thank you for putting it together.
Is there any more like kind of comments going through here? If not, I want to make sure that we you know, give Imagine It a little bit of platform and kind of talk about what Imagine It does, since they didn't get an opportunity to speak. You know, 40 years of CAD and 3D design engineering expertise. Imagine It Technologies is a division of Rand Worldwide. It's an Autodesk Platinum partner and technology company serving design and engineering professionals in Canada and the United States. Imagine It would love to work with you if possible. So, and then of course we want to thank Hunter Davison. Dave, we appreciate you very much for not only your sponsorship, but also the work that you are doing around diversity, equity, and inclusion as well. I know you spend a lot of your time helping and supporting that. So thank you for that, Dave. And how do we feel? Everybody feel like that's it? Is that a wrap?
I think our brains are overloaded with information, which is good in a good way.
Robbie, how'd we do?
Yeah, you guys did great. This is awesome. I have like the list of all the people that I want to get to know and hopefully, I don't know, figure out some kind of partnerships, I guess, in the near future. Especially, I mean, Dave Wright, I'm going to be contacting you very, very soon. So, and everybody else. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm just like, dude. But no, it's great. Good job, guys.
So ethically, we're good, right? We
I
touched
believe
as
so.
much.
Yeah,
Okay. And how about Courtney as a director? Anything that we need to touch on?
Fantastic. You guys put on a great show tonight. I'm so inspired by everybody. It's been amazing to learn about all across the end. I just am so proud that we did such a good job of across the industry, really looking at how we can support equity, diversity, and inclusion. So thank you, everybody.
And then Alexander as the president.
Yeah, Juan and Melody, this was incredible. This is so cool. But thank you for putting this together so well. And I mean, it speaks to CSI, who sort of like wants to reach out to everybody in the industry, and it's not insular, but it's sort of like the place where everybody who has something to do with the construction process sort of like comes together. And you guys did a great job. Thank you for that.
Ellen, as an advocate, anything?
Oh, I agree with what everyone said. It was great. And it's always nice to hear from other organizations. I think we should go back to our offices and communicate this with our coworkers and with HR and just reach out across the aisle as much as we can. Yeah. Across the aisle, quote unquote, sorry.
And take a village, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I wish I had your quote here in front of me, Alexander, because I know it had something to do with, you know, it's one of the hardest things that we're, as a human race, that we kind of have to approach, right? We have to tackle this, and we have to look at making it as inclusive as possible. So once again, we want to thank everybody that came out and spoke. We want to thank our sponsors, and that's a wrap, people. Have a good night. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night.